This podcast is sponsored by nobody. Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror and sci-fi show where things can get totally radical. Now today I will be welcoming back my good friend, the awesome, the lovely, the sweet, the also-southern Christy Alexander Hallberg. And we are going to nerd out on the entertainment of our youth, talking about film, television, and music from childhood. This will be our second nerd out. The first one was Old Hollywood Nerd Out last summer, in fact. And I want to see if she's got anything upcoming, if she's working on a new book. She's a rock historian, of course, and an awesome one. Her podcast, Rock is Lit, is so awesome. Go take a listen on podcasting platforms. It is so awesome, and she is just so cool. And it's going to be great to have her back on today. And she's a decade older than me, so it'll be like the Carrie Haim nerd out I did last year, where we just relate to a lot of the same stuff. So I'm looking forward to this. I gotta be honest with you guys. I've been addressing this quite a bit lately. I know I've said it before, but it's getting increasingly harder to book the show each week. There are so many fucking podcasts out there. Iconic people I've never talked to before are highly inundated with 50 to 100 podcasts a year now. My frequent regulars are super busy, and some of them don't grasp the concept of nerding out. And sometimes my week doesn't start until midweek, like today. But have no fear, I've got a great week booked next week with some iconic first time guests that I'm pretty excited about. Just you wait for the announcements. I'm not giving up either. I'm going to keep on doing this podcast as long as I can, but it is getting a bit difficult. I have no shortage of guests, so don't send me suggestions, but just keep in mind that's why there are several days during the week when you don't hear from me. It's because it's just getting hard right now, and plus politically in this country, a lot of people in Hollywood are just frightened and fearful, which they should be because it's fucking insane. But that's a whole nother podcast. Also, happy belated birthday, frequent guest Laurie Cardiel of George A. Romero's cult classic sequel, Day of the Dead. She's coming back on tomorrow to nerd out with me, so keep your eyes peeled for that one. It's going to be a toe curler, just like this one. So yeah, here is my new interview with Christy Alexander Hallberg.
Hello.
Hey, Christy, welcome back. How are you today, love?
I'm great. How are you?
Oh, it is summertime and I am fantastic. This is what fantastic sounds like.
Well, thank you so much for having me back on. It's always a treat.
Absolutely, always, my friend. So,
Yay.
going back in time, do you remember the first movie that impacted you as a child?
Oh my gosh, you're going to go right to it. Probably The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, that was an early one for me. Also, Back to the Future. I used to look at my parents' yearbooks all the time, and I always had that fantasy of going back in time and seeing them in high school and finding out why they're so fucked up and I'm so fucked up.
What year were you born?
1983.
Okay, I'm 69. So I remember when they started, well, actually, I don't know when they started showing Wizard of Oz on TV for the first time, but I remember it was such a big deal to kids my age because it only came on once a year. You couldn't, like when you're a little kid in the 70s, you couldn't go rent that thing. So you'd wait every year for it to come on, and it was just a magical thing.
I
But I
did.
get Back to the Future. I like that too.
Yeah, wow, I did not realize you were 69. I thought you were like Stacy's age.
Oh no, I was born in 69. I'm
Oh,
55.
oh, okay. Yes, exactly. That's what I thought. I thought you were born in that time frame. Yes, that's what I mean.
Yeah, yeah. I was a 70s kid.
Okay, because that would make because 69 would have made you a year older than my dad.
Oh my God. That's I got to wrap my head around that.
Yeah. No, I
Because
mean,
I don't have kids, so the whole idea of having kids just kind of freaks me out.
yeah, because I've seen some 69-year-olds that don't look 69, you know. Because when you said that, I was like, really?
Man, she looks good for 69.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, so like, yeah, Wizard of Oz, that was probably the first old Hollywood movie that I fell in love with, but Back to the Future
Hmm.
for sure. That was when I started appreciating good filmmaking, really
Yeah,
really good filmmaking.
yeah, yeah. So, talking about movies from my childhood, though, because obviously Wizard of Oz was made in 1939,
Hmm.
but Jaws made a big impact on me. Actually, I didn't see the first Jaws, which is 50 years old this
Yep.
year. It came out in 1975. I didn't see that at the theater. I was too young, but I
Hmm.
did see Jaws 2, which is not nearly as good a movie, but I really liked it at the time. I would have been, I don't know, 7 or 8. Didn't it come out around the same time Grease did? Because
Uh,
Grease was a big movie for me too.
no, Grease came out in '78.
Okay, all right. Well, the Jaws movies, the first two in particular, were real important to me. Only they scared the shit out of me, and I would not go in the deep end of the pool for years.
Yeah, everybody I talk to says that. You know, I
Hmm.
never had that problem. I saw from the get go how silly and fake the shark was. But yeah, I've always had a fear of fish in general. I cannot,
Mm,
like, I've been in an aquarium tank. I get very claustrophobic, and if I see turtles flying over me and stuff, it's just
yeah,
creepy to me. You know.
yeah. Well, where are you on Grease? Did you like Grease?
I'm a huge Grease fan.
Yay!
It took me a long time to come around to it because my mom was obsessed with that movie in my early formative years. Like every time it was on, she had to watch it, and I'm like, do we always have to watch this movie? You know,
Yes.
and she's one of the few who actually likes the second one.
Oh my God, I love the second one, and I can say that knowing full well it's a shitty movie, but
Yeah.
it came out when I was 12 years old, 12 or 13,
Hmm.
and I freaking loved that movie. I must have seen that at the theater 7 or 8 times that year. Loved it. I've got the soundtrack.
Yeah, and I've talked to a few people from it too. I've talked to Maureen Teefy and some of the
Really?
yeah, some of the dancers, Ivy Austin and Lucinda Dickey from the Break-In movies. Yep, they had fun making
Hmm.
that movie. You know, I mean they were disappointed at the outcome of everything
Yeah.
after, but they had fun making it, you know.
It was quite an extravaganza, and that was the first time I ever saw Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to remember who it was. It was Lucinda. She told me that she started taking acting classes the moment she saw Michelle Pfeiffer on set acting because she was like, she makes me want to be a better actress. So she started taking like acting classes hardcore because she was a dancer. She didn't really have an acting trajectory up to that point, but then she did.
Hmm.
And then of course in the Break-In movies, she's fantastic. I mean, you always wonder what happened to her after that, and she told me, her contract with Canon, which for some reason got thrown out the window when Sharon Stone replaced her in the Alan Quatermain movies. That just turned her off of the business
Oh,
after that. Yeah.
yeah, bummer. Well, I loved that movie, and like I say, I've got the soundtrack to that and the first Grease.
Yeah, we did Grease at my high school when I was a junior, and I wanted to participate in it, but I was playing football at the time, and it was a fall musical.
Oh, yeah.
I went to go see it, and I just loved it. And I was friends with the girl who played Patty Simcox in the movie. She has a very distinctive giggle when she laughs, and she had to do a different variation on it to play Patty Simcox, and it just cracked me up.
How cool. Wow.
Yeah, and I interviewed Susan Buckner, who played Patty Simcox in the movie before she died.
Oh, that's great. You have had the chance to talk to some amazing people.
Lots of amazing people, but Susan, oh
Yeah.
my God, we talked 2 hours, and she was just like the Energizer Bunny. She kept going and going with her stories. She had hilarious stories. She told me she spent the night with Wilt Chamberlain once, and he almost put her in the hospital and stuff
Oh
like
my
that.
God.
Yeah,
Wow.
hilarious stuff. Yeah, I cherished that interview, and it almost didn't happen. She was putting it off for a while, but it was great.
Hmm.
Yeah, so
Do you
like
have a favorite interview?
Gina Shock of the Go-Go's.
Mm,
That first interview we did,
yeah.
because we've done two of them. The first one I cherish because if you go listen to every interview she's ever done and listen to mine, she's very vulnerable and loose and free, and she's loving me just being a complete nerd over her work and the Go-Go's history and stuff. I mean, she was
Hmm.
digging it, and she made me cut like 5 minutes out because she gave me too much information she didn't want the world to know, but she trusted me enough to tell me.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
That's a good feeling.
Yeah, she did that again in the second one too.
All right.
Yeah. So yeah, I was born in '83. My brother was born in '73, and so he recorded everything off HBO. We had the teen sex
Yeah.
comedy movies like Animal House and Porky's and Police Academy.
Yep.
He was into the early hip hop, so we had the break-in movies and Rappin' and Beat Street, and he was obsessed with medieval sword and sorcery epics like The Neverending Story and Kroll and Highlander and Labyrinth and stuff like that.
Wow. Yeah. I've never seen any of those.
Which ones?
All the ones that you just listed last, all of the like the labyrinth and all of that. I haven't seen those.
I recommend them all, especially Labyrinth. Labyrinth is it's Jim Henson's last movie, but it's his best movie because it is just it's a crowning achievement. It was not an easy movie to make, but it is beautifully done.
Hmm. Okay, I'll check it out.
David Bowie is so cool in it, playing the bad guy.
Oh, that's right. He's in that. Well, I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah, he is so subtly sinister, but yet so sexy at the same time. And I actually know a girl who is terrified the first shot she sees of him just smiling so evil in that movie.
You mentioned Porky's. I remember having slumber parties, and cable was relatively new at
Yeah.
that time. I guess this would have been the very early 80s, or at least it was new for us. And having slumber parties, and it was so exciting to watch movies like Porky's late at night because you really thought you were almost watching soft porn or something. Thought you were being naughty.
Yeah, we had all three of them on tape, and like I couldn't watch them till I was um, till they were cut up on USA up all night. I saw them then,
Uh-huh.
and then I saw them uncut, and I was like, oh yeah, these are pretty naughty. I could see why my mom just threw a fit. I remember she took one of the tapes and threw them on the roof.
Yeah, I'm sure.
She did that a couple times actually. She did that with another teen movie called Hamburger, the motion picture. Do you remember that one?
I do. I don't think I saw it, but I remember the name of that movie.
Yeah, it's got a weird history because okay, there were so many movies back then of the teen genre that were racist,
Yeah.
homophobic, misogynist. This one goes to the most utmost extreme, and because of it, nobody knows who owns the movie legally. It may be in the public domain because it's never been released on Blu-ray or DVD, and it only shows up on YouTube. It doesn't get shown anywhere else.
Good Lord. That bad, huh?
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Yeah, and I've seen it more
Wow.
times than I care to admit because it's funny. It's really funny.
Along those same lines, but not with like the teen porn stuff.
Uh-huh.
There was the whole horror genre, like Faces of Death. Do you remember that?
Yes, I've been trying to find someone connected with it over the years, but never had luck. I remember seeing the first one, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm really seeing a monkey being killed and then the brain being eaten. This is worse than Indiana Jones.
Yeah. Yeah, that I remember when those movies came out, and we would by now we had a VCR, and you could rent movies. And so that was another one. Speaking of slumber parties, that was another one that we would watch in the middle of the night. And it was always just so freaky and horrifying and disgusting. And,
Yeah,
you can't believe you're watching this shit. And at the same time, you can't not.
yeah. God, yeah, and there's like a dolphin being clubbed, and it's just like, oh my
Mm.
God. I'll tell you. I'll tell you this though. I'd rather talk about that movie on this podcast than was Cannibal Holocaust, because that movie was truly mean spirited in that, it's you're supposed to create the illusion when you make a movie, and
Yeah,
that movie Faces of Death was like a mock you documentary of
right.
funny stuff, of really evil sick stuff happening, but Cannibal Holocaust, they went over the line, and I just that movie turns me off. It really does.
Really? I haven't heard of that.
Yeah,
Huh.
it turns 45 this year, and we had a horror show in the Bay Area called Coffee Creepy Movie Time on the Coffee Network that we had,
Hmm.
and they had a promo where they announced that they were going to be showing Cannibal Holocaust. And they thought the movie was still in the public domain, but it wasn't. So they got a cease and desist letter, and they never showed it.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Hmm. That's yeah, that I don't think I could watch Faces of Death now. I don't think I
yeah.
could sit through watching anybody be harmed or especially animals be harmed. But at the time, it was just I'd never seen anything like it. You just couldn't look away.
I only saw the first one, and that's all I needed to see.
Yeah, that's all I saw.
But I would like to talk about it with somebody, because it's one of those movies. At the time, it was like huge, but like nobody remembers it.
Mm. The people who watched it remember it.
Yes, we do, but like if you mention it to any millennial, they're like, "What?" You know?
Yeah, but you mentioned anything that happened before they were born, they go, "What?"
Yeah, exactly. Wait, Marlon who? You know,
Yeah, exactly.
he hung out with Michael who? You know?
Uh-huh.
Oh, he had a pet.
Yeah.
He had a pet monkey. Yeah. So, did you have HBO in the 80s?
I did. I did. We had that. We had Showtime.
Yeah.
Trying to remember if Cinemax was around. If it was, we probably had that one too.
Yeah, because my mom worked for the cable company, but we didn't get Cinemax and Showtime until 1990. But we got it starting in '84, and she didn't even work for the cable company yet. And
Mm.
I feel sorry for anybody who didn't have HBO in the mid '80s, because it was magical. Because you got to see music videos and short animated films between movies, and
Yeah.
it was like an inclusive, artistic thing for cable at that time. And now it's different. It's just one movie, one promo after another, and nothing else extra that's special.
Yeah. Speaking of shows between shows, and I think this was Showtime,
Hmm.
they used to have, or one of them did, used to have like this 15-minute exercise
Hmm.
thing between movies.
Yeah.
And it was, my brother used to call it sexercise because it was these women in their leotards just kind of not doing any kind of actual exercise, like proper movements or
Hmm.
positions or anything. They're just kind of flinging their bodies and their hair around. It was very erotic.
Oh my God, that is hilarious. Yeah,
And funny.
Best Mata had that aerobics video that was really popular, and Jane Fonda had one. Yeah,
Oh yeah, I had some Jane Fonda videos,
yeah.
exercise videos.
We had sweat into the oldies.
No, you
Yeah,
That's hilarious.
It's funny.
Did you see it?
My mom tried to get me to exercise because I was a fat kid, and I would just do it for about 5 minutes and then go get a Pepsi in the fridge. And
Uh-huh.
over the years, my mom tried so hard to get me to like exercise with her again. And now that, her body's breaking down and stuff, I regret not doing it with her, because I really
Oh,
think that we should have done it.
oh, is she not doing well?
Well, she took a fall that was blood pressure related, and heart
Yikes.
related, back in May, but she's gonna go in for surgery in September. And
Oh, I'm sorry. I hope that'll work out.
yeah, she's a tough Italian broad. She'll
Good for her.
she'll get through it. But
Nice.
there's a YouTube channel I gotta recommend. It's called Wildcock 23, and It's all HBO, Showtime, Cinemax Movie Channel promos from the 80s and 90s,
Mhm.
and it's magical. Like, I could remember so many promos I see on there from like our VHS tapes that my brother had. And to
Mhm.
find out when your favorite movies premiered on HBO, it's magical. It gives you chills, you know?
Very cool. Well,
Yeah.
I just discovered that you can see a bunch of those old after-school specials from the 70s and 80s on YouTube, so I'm pretty chuffed about that.
Oh yeah, I watched those.
Yep.
Confessions of a Teenage Shoplifter, Alcoholic, Sex Addict,
Yep.
whatever they had.
Yep.
You remember
Yep.
you remember when the Star Wars phenomenon first took off?
Oh, of course. Yes. I went to see the first three Star Wars movies I saw in the theater when I was a kid. And they're the only three that I like. I don't like the stuff that they made
No,
in what, the 90s or and onward.
awful, awful.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I was born about a week and a half after Return of the Jedi, and so that's a special one to me because that was the first one I saw.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved me some Harrison Ford.
I heard he's
Cutie Pie.
I heard he's got an Emmy nomination.
Yeah, for shrinking.
Yeah, I never saw it,
Hmm.
but yeah, that's cool. Yeah, because
Good for him.
I'm sure where you were living, there were lines like around the block to see those movies.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Raiders of the Lost Ark, just thinking about Harrison Ford, that
Yes,
was, oh my gosh, I loved that movie so much.
I'm a bigger Indiana Jones fan than I am Star Wars, but
Me too.
I love them both. I just love how they're paying homage to the dying art of the matinee serials with both of these franchises, and yeah, Temple of Doom
Yeah.
is my favorite one. It's because it's so darkly hilarious, and I had a crush on Kate Capshaw. I'm so jealous that Spielberg married her. I just I just love her almost Barbara Stanwyck esque delivery in the movie.
Hmm.
Of being a strong woman, feminist type, and just the two of them bantering back and forth is just hilarious.
Yeah.
And her feet are amazing. I have to say.
I don't recall making a study of her feet, so I can't comment on that.
Yeah, because after she says 5 minutes, they're both laying on their individual beds, and you see her souls in the air. Those are beautiful.
Oh,
Those are beautiful.
okay.
That whole
Okay.
sequence is great. I mean, that's like perfect comic timing, and then when the action comes, when the guy tries to strangle him, is hilarious too. Um,
I am partial to Karen Allen in the first one.
Indiana Jones. I loved it when she said it in the Kingdom of the Crystal Skulls. The entire theater went crazy. I almost met her.
Yeah.
I almost met her at a Comic Con back in 2019. A rainstorm kept me from going, and I was planning on going. I had a couple posters for her to sign.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah,
Maybe,
I haven't seen her.
maybe you'll get another chance.
Maybe I haven't seen her booked for a con since in California, but maybe because I love her in Animal House. I love her
Hmm.
in Scrooged and Starman, and she's so beautiful and talented with those eyes. You know that.
Yeah, I used to babysit for somebody who went to school with her
Oh yeah,
when I was a kid. Yeah, so yeah, she's great.
yeah. She's just got those beautiful eyes. And The Wanderers, that Street Gang movie she was in, she was great in that one too.
You know what? I have not seen that, and shame on me. I should have seen that, but I have not. I have not seen The Wanderers.
It is great. I mean, in '79, there were four Street Gang movies released, and they all got boycotted by real gangs in theaters. The Warriors, The Wanderers, um, something Boulevard. I always forget the name of it. And Over the Edge, which is based on an incident that happened with
Yep.
my parents' childhood friend in the Bay Area. He
Get out!
he was in the gang that killed this kid that inspired that story.
Wow, I loved Over the Edge. Matt Dillon.
Yeah,
He was a little shit in that movie, but it was a good movie. But wow, your parents have a connection to that. That's interesting.
it is. Yeah, and the producer's daughter is a friend of mine, Andrea Lito, and I got to meet up with her for brunch when I was in L.A. last month when I went to the Hollywood show, and um, she's hilarious. She has no filter, and yeah, those Street Gang movies were pretty good. Growing up in the South, I'm sure you love those '70s car chase movies.
But if you're talking about Smokey and the Bandit, hell yeah.
Convoy.
Boy. Now we're tipping into redneck land. I remember going to see Smokey and the Bandit in the theater. My dad took me, and my parents divorced when I was 7. So my dad's living in the divorced dad apartment complex, and he got me this pink Huffy bike. And all the other kids out there, they were all kids from divorced families too.
Yeah.
But we would all play Smokey and the Bandit on our bikes. And somebody'd be the sheriff, and somebody'd be Smokey, somebody'd be Sally Field, and we'd be going all around that apartment complex on our bikes.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you ever seen The Great Smoky Roadblock?
No, I haven't.
It's on YouTube. But 1974, Henry Fonda escapes from a hospital and drives a convoy, and it's got him. Listen to this list. Him, Eileen Brennan, Susan Sarandon, who co-produced the movie, Robert Englund in his first movie, Austin Pendleton, who I just interviewed, and Gary Sandy from WKRP in Cincinnati. Oh, yeah, and Melanie Mayron from 30-something.
Oh my God. What a cast.
Yeah.
Henry Fonda is leading the convoy.
Yes, and he finds a flock of hookers. And Melanie Mayron is one, Susan Sarandon, Muse Small from the prostitute from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, the dark-haired one, Candy. She's one of them, and I interviewed her, and I asked her about working with Fonda, and she said it was an amazing experience.
Did you ask her about working with Nicholson?
Oh, yes. We talked about that. We talked about Scott Baio on Zapped, because she plays his mom in that.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We talked about a lot of stuff. The only things I didn't ask her about, because we were on a time limit, I wanted to ask her about Thank God It's Friday. That's the disco movie.
Donna Summer in that?
Donna Summer. Jeff Goldblum's the owner of the club. My biggest TV crush from childhood, Valerie Landsberg, her and Terry Nunn from Berlin, and lots of people are in that. Yeah, it's like takes place at a disco club in one night, and lots of crazy stuff happens. Yeah, Muse was in that movie too.
Goodness, she got around.
Oh yeah, she was in a lot of good stuff. She was in The Puppet Master for Empire Pictures. Lots of stuff she was in. Yeah, what kind of comedy did you like growing up? Comedy movies. Comedy. Yeah.
Think about that. I don't recall. Well, okay, the first thing that comes to mind is Airplane.
Yes.
I loved Airplane.
My favorite.
My siblings are considerably older than I am. My sister's 12 and a half years older, and one brother's 14 years older. The other one's 10 years older. And I remember 2 of my siblings taking me to see that, and the scene where the camera flashes past the woman with her boobs out. Yeah. They're both struggling to put their hands over my eyes. But that was, I loved Airplane and Naked Gun, stupid stuff like that.
Yes. I love all of those. I just interviewed Lorna Patterson, who played the blonde stewardess in Airplane, and I don't think she likes that movie.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think it was her cup of tea. She just didn't sound very enthusiastic talking about it. I mean, she told me the whole thing about her singing the folk song and, knocking the IV out of Jill Whelan's arm, right?
Yes.
Peter from Peter, Paul, and Mary, that was his song. He wrote it. And he was offended by that whole scene at first, but then, as time went on, fans came up to him and said, I love that you contributed that song to Airplane, and then he embraced it, but at the time, he was mortified by the joke. But she told me that, let's see, Helen Reddy, who had played the nun in Airport, she didn't want to parody it in Airplane, so they got Maureen McGovern, and they came up with this idea. Wouldn't it be funny if it looks like that the nun is going to sing the song, but instead the stewardess does, and then later the nun sings "RS respect to the jive
Yeah,
dudes." So
yeah,
they came up with that idea.
that's great. I remember Mrs. Cleaver, what was her name? Barbara Billingsley,
Barbara
doing
Billingsley,
the jive talk. She spoke jive. That was
yeah.
hilarious.
And the ironic part about that is Harriet Nelson turned it down, and people have told me she had the most bawdy and dirty mouth in the world. Like,
Really?
yeah, she had this image on screen, but like she used to hang out with the boys and tell jokes and stuff. She was that kind of a gal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's interesting.
I don't know why she turned it down. I think she would have been just as funny.
Yeah.
I remember one time Barbara Billingsley was on. It was like a Leave It to Beaver marathon type of show, and I can't remember who the host was, but she was the guest, appearance interview, and he said to her, "Say the word scumbag," and the way she said it was so hilarious. It was like an airplane moment with the jive talk.
Uh-huh.
I was cracking up.
Nice.
Yeah, you may have been a little bit too old for by this time, but like I used to watch Muppet Babies when I was a kid, and she was the voice of the nanny on there, and my parents used to tell
Oh,
me that's Mrs. Cleaver doing the voice of the nanny. I was like, wow, and you never see her face. You see her feet and legs the entire time. She wore these like soccer socks with like stripes on them. That was always the joke of the Muppet Babies.
no, I never saw that. I was not into the Muppets. I wasn't really into cartoons either. I just didn't do like Saturday morning.
Hmm.
What did I do Saturday morning? I'd watch American Bandstand,
Oh,
but I didn't, and sometimes Soul Train, but I wasn't into the cartoons or the Muppets or any of that stuff.
it's funny. I didn't get into American Bandstand till VH1 in the '90s, but I found out when I was watching USA Network, they were showing reruns of American Bandstand. I have no memory of that at all.
Did you see the one that Prince was on for the first time?
Yeah, when he's like giving
That's
him,
hilarious.
yeah, he's giving him one word answers and he holds up four
Yes,
fingers.
yes.
Yes,
It's
yes.
your disaster nightmare interview right there.
Yeah, oh my God, it's hilarious. But he
Hmm.
was always like that. He it was hard for him to open up to people. Like he did that weird interview on MTV in '85 where it's like the set of a video and he's got all these people with him in the bleachers. That was a weird interview.
He could give some weird interviews, but man, dude, I love Prince.
Yes, he was the best. Purple Rain. Oh my God.
Yeah, yeah.
I interviewed a girl who had a book out about it, and she sent me a copy of it. The binding is so velvet and beautiful and purple,
Oh,
and she met him in 2014, and he didn't understand why people love that movie.
really?
Yeah,
That's surprising. I always figured he thought that that was his baby.
he did, but it's just like he wanted to move on. He just wanted to keep evolving and creating.
Yeah. Okay, well, that I get. Yeah, that fits with Prince.
Yeah. Did you have any movie crushes growing up?
I had a lot of movie crushes. Matt Dillon. I was, you know what, The Outsiders.
Yep.
That was like, what was the first novel, the first book I read that I thought I could really relate to. I was 13 years old
Hmm.
and feeling a bit like an outsider. And that book just really resonated with me. And so the movie came out shortly after I read it.
Hmm.
And Jesus, the careers that movie launched. Of course, Matt Dillon he was already established, but
Yeah.
the other folks in there, gosh. But I loved that, and I had such a crush on Matt Dillon. I used to keep a scrapbook of pictures of Matt Dillon, and I had one too for C. Thomas Howell, Pony Boy.
Hmm.
And let's
I've
see,
met him. I've met C.
oh
Thomas
yeah,
Howell. He's a sweetheart of a guy.
is he?
Yeah.
Oh, good to know. I sent him fan letters when I was a little kid,
Really?
or not a little kid, but when I was 13, 14, I sent him fan letters, and I got a postcard from, well, it's probably not even from him, it's probably from his people, but somebody wrote a postcard to me and with his signature, and I had that framed in my bedroom for all through junior high, and I still have it. So that meant a lot to me. But yeah, he was a crush as well.
Yeah,
Who else did I know?
yeah. As I told you last time, I loved Cary Grant and Natalie Wood. Um,
Well, Natalie Wood's my girl crush.
yes. Did you hear my interview with Lana?
I haven't. I've been so crazy busy here lately, but I will do that.
Yes, it was fantastic. It was more fantastic than I thought it would be. She was very open with me, and we had a ball. It was great.
Oh my God, that Tommy, that's amazing.
Yeah, I'd been trying to get her for a long time, but she wasn't reading like DMs for a long time, and then she
Yeah.
did. And she was a little bit on the fence. She had a falling out with the writer of the most recent Natalie Wood book, which I don't even know anything about. Like I don't know why they had a falling out, but I assured her her name won't be brought up and everything, and we did it, and we had a ball.
That's great. Didn't she have a falling out with Robert Wagner and the two girls,
Oh
the
yeah.
daughters?
Oh yeah. She just
Yeah,
she just maintains that Wagner did it. I don't know who did it, you know,
right.
but it's possible, but who's to say, But
Yeah, I'm sort of leaning towards they had an argument and she was shit-faced drunk and
mhm,
went up on the deck and trying to secure the dinghy and just went overboard. That's my theory.
yeah, I think so too. Yeah,
Mm.
and like on TV, I loved Valerie Landsberg on Fame. I loved
Oh yeah.
Maureen Flanagan on Out of This World. I've been trying to get her on. I've been trying to get both of them on, and it's been tough, but I won't give up on those two. Um, like every '80s movie actress I've met and interviewed, from Diane Franklin to Catherine Mary Stewart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, lots of people like that were crushes of mine.
Yeah.
What
I
movie?
had
Oh, go
crushes
ahead.
on like older actors. I mean, not just like Matt Dillon, C. Thomas Howard from my era,
Hmm.
but I loved James Dean. I loved Marlon Brando, Montgomery Clift.
Hmm.
I thought Laurence Olivier was hot.
Yeah. Yeah.
I Bogey. Wow,
Bogey, yeah. Lauren Bacall, oh my God,
beautiful.
beautiful. Yeah. Were there any movie characters that you can relate to the most?
Movie characters that I could relate to the most. Well, think about that one. Um, I almost said Breakfast Club. It's like which of the two? I could not relate to Claire. That was not me growing up, but I wasn't quite as much of a basket case as the Ali Sheedy character.
Hmm. Oh,
Um,
I gotta
yeah,
say,
go ahead.
a lot of my persona came from her just having no filter and just testing boundaries. Like, a lot of it came from her. I just love her in that role. It's so funny.
Yeah, yeah, she was great. They all were. And now I hear they're doing a sequel to St. Elmo's Fire with the original cast.
Yeah, but let's see if it actually happens.
Well, true. Yeah. Did you see that documentary that Andrew McCarthy did?
I've seen like clips of it. I haven't seen the full thing yet, but I want to see the whole thing. Um, I put that on my list actually, but it just boggles my mind that Anthony Michael Hall wouldn't participate. He does Comic Con, so I don't know why he says I'm an artist. I don't want to look back on those times. It's like yeah, but you're doing the cons, you know.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Hmm.
I was surprised that Emilio Estevez did it because he doesn't do any of that stuff. But he did that, and then I've seen since then him do some publicity for that movie.
Right. Well, I think he recognized that it made him who he is, in terms of the career,
Sure.
and he likes those
Yeah.
guys. He likes hanging out with them and stuff. So why not?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
Breakfast Club is like one of my favorite movies of all time. I could quote that movie from start to finish, and it's almost a sick thing I have that I can quote that movie.
Yeah, and that came out at the perfect time for me. I was the perfect age for that movie, for Pretty in Pink and 16 Candles and all of that stuff. Those John Hughes movies were they really that's my whole generation watched all those movies and loved them.
Yeah, let's see. The movie characters I can relate to the most are like Peter Sellers in Being There, because
Okay.
his character's autistic. I have a little bit of Asperger's, and like I could say the most simple things and influence people. I don't know how I do it. Um,
Hmm.
James Spader in Sex, Lies, and Videotape, because he's a voyeur and I'm a voyeur, and so,
Okay.
and so it's a very titillating character for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you go to the drive-in a lot growing up?
I've never gone to the drive-in. We had one in town, but I think by the time I was old enough to be interested in anything like that, it had closed down. So no,
Yeah,
never been to the drive-in.
we had several in the Bay Area, but the one we went to for many years until it closed was the Burlingame Drive-In, which was overlooking water that me and my dad would go fishing at, and
Mm.
we would go there starting when I was 2. They took me to see Weird Science and Rambo 2, and
Okay.
I remember that night very well. You always remember your destiny, always, you know. And they took me to see everything: Ruthless People, The Golden Child, Heartbreak Ridge, Star Trek 4, Light of Day with Michael J. Fox, um,
Oh, yes, and Joan Jett.
and Joan Jett. And they stopped taking me for a while because it got to a point where I was either falling asleep in the back seat or I was getting out of a car and knocking on windshields. Yeah.
Interrupting some activity there, probably.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, my ex, who's 13 years older than I am, she said I could have swore, like I know that a kid a little young kid with brown hair interrupted me and my boyfriend at the drive-in once.
Oh my gosh.
If it was you, oh my God, it would explain everything.
That's funny.
Yeah. So getting into television, like what sitcoms did you watch growing up?
Ooh, so many. Happy Days was my A number one favorite sitcom.
Mine too.
That,
Yep.
yeah, that
Yep.
first came on, I think, in 74. So
Yep.
I don't know if I saw the first season, but from then on, yeah, that I was gonna watch Happy Days, and that was my favorite show.
That and Laverne and Shirley is my absolute favorite. I love that show because just the chemistry between them was like Lucy and Ethel, and I think that
Yes.
they continued the Lucy and Ethel like friendship that was lacking in television at that point, and the slapstick and
Hmm.
the physical comedy that they did. I mean, yeah, the show is full of flaws and anachronisms because when a show gets popular, the creator producer leaves, and then the network gets careless, you know. But
Yeah.
all of that aside, the show was fantastic, and I talked to Squiggy before he died.
Oh gosh, poor guy.
Yeah. He got sick very young, like a year after the show ended, and he fought it, for 35 plus years, and he was just a soldier that way, I mean, he was kind
Yeah.
of bitter that his career didn't turn out the way he thought it would, but he was blessed, very blessed guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I loved Happy Days, Laverne and Shirley. I liked Alice.
Alice, I'm a huge Alice
Yeah,
fan.
yeah. I loved, no, the Brady Bunch reruns would come on when I came home from school. I could see those
Yep,
and was a big Brady Bunch fan.
huge Brady Bunch fan and Partridge Family.
I wasn't as much into the Partridge Family as I was the Brady Bunch. And, there's that kind of comparison there as there was with, say, on a different note, Little House on the Prairie versus the Waltons.
Yeah.
And I loved Little House on the Prairie when I was a kid. I didn't watch the Waltons all that much.
I love the Waltons more than Little House. I mean I love Melissa Gilbert in anything, but like I was more into the Waltons. I don't know. I just thought that the values of that show were a lot less right wingy than Michael Landon's values on Little House on the Prairie, you know. And
Well, yeah.
I like Richard Thomas and Judy Norton. I got to meet them at the Hollywood show last month, and I've had Judy on the podcast. So,
Oh, that's great. Yeah, see, look, as an adult, looking at those two shows, I completely agree with you.
hmm
But Little House is the one that my mom put on the TV, and
hmm
I just liked it. And so if I was at somebody else's house and the Waltons came on, it just it didn't resonate with me at that time the way Little House did. But I completely agree with you that the message in Little House is so on the nose,
hmm
and it's so right wing Christian, which is really interesting because Michael Landon was Jewish.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, it's just really interesting. And it's just so sentimental and gross. And as an adult, I could not go back and watch Little House on the Prairie. I think that there's much more subtlety in the Waltons. And again, as an adult looking at it, I can say I think it's a better show.
yeah, I do. I love the Waltons.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. I mean, Star Trek. I talk about this a lot. I mean, that show broke the no belly buttons on TV rule with Barbara Luna
Yeah.
and Nichelle Nichols. And when I met Barbara Luna last month at the Hollywood show, I got to touch her belly button when we took our picture. And it was fantastic, Christy. Oh my God. It's like one of the
Oh,
biggest thrills of my life. You know, my friend comes
I get it.
my friend he comes late and she's like, we're just talking about my belly button.
That's great.
Yeah.
I mean, I was not a Star Trek person.
hmm
I wasn't a big sci-fi
hmm
person, but I loved the Andy Griffith show on
Yep.
a totally different note. Andy Griffith was the chorus teacher of my Aunt Lydia, my dad's sister.
Yeah.
So Andy Griffith's show I thought was really great, and I remember watching Eight is Enough. That's not sitcom, but
Yeah.
I liked Eight is
That's
Enough,
a good one.
and yeah, and let's see. I also liked. Oh my gosh, this just popped into my head. The Hardy Boys,
Yes. I
because I had such a crush on Sean Cassidy.
You liked him better than David, right?
My mom liked David. I liked the whatever his name is. Joe. Was it Joe? Sean
Joe.
Cassidy's character. I think it was Joe, but I
No,
don't.
no,
I
he was
don't.
Keith.
No, that's the Partridge Family.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Yes, Sean Cassidy's. Yeah, I think his name was Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched an episode the other day because I had Stephanie Kramer on the podcast, and she guest
Oh.
starred. She guest starred on the Hardy Boys. She plays the first victim of the episode. She gets like attacked by a rabid dog at the beginning.
Quite an auspicious beginning. Wasn't Stephanie Kramer in Simon and Simon?
Hunter.
Oh shit, yeah, Hunter.
Yeah,
I used to love that show. My mom and
me
I
too.
watched that all the time. I thought
Yeah,
Fred Dryer was so hot.
he was, but he's a right wing kind of guy too. But
Oh,
you know what's interesting about him? He okay, you know how everybody talks about how sports has changed because it's everyone's doing it for the money now and it's all about advertising on TV and shit. He was
yeah.
saying that back in the 80s after he had retired from football and he kind of like predicted that's the direction it was going in. And I was watching a couple old interviews of his and I was like, wow, I mean, he's like a prophet for that. Like he knew it was going to happen.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
Did she have anything nice to say about him?
Oh yeah, I mean she's always been close with him. She had nothing but a good experience, but she left the season before the last season because she just got tired of playing that role, and
Yeah.
there was frustration over the storylines, they wanted to do an episode a season where she was sexually assaulted or something, and she just wasn't comfortable doing that.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
used to really like that show.
Yeah, I did too. That was one of my favorite ones because my dad and I we'd watch Hunter, we'd watch Simon and Simon, we'd watch
Mm-hmm.
Magnum PI. Um,
Mm-hmm.
we watched the ones from the '70s, Cannon, Rockford Files, Barnaby Jones. We watch all those shows.
Man,
Quincy.
oh God, I used to love Quincy and the
Yeah,
Rockford Files. James Garner was just so great.
yeah. Gardner.
That gold Trans Am.
You know what I heard he did? He, the guy who made Battlestar Galactica and the Fall Guy and $6 Million Man, Glenn Larson, right? He
Mm-hmm.
he was notorious for stealing scripts from other Universal series sets, and he stole some from the Rockford Files. And their parking spaces at Universal were right next to each other. One day, they both got to the studio at the same time. Gardner knocked him out.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Do you remember he and Mary Hartley used to do all those, what was it, Polaroid commercials?
Yes, yes, and
Those were great.
apparently Garner did not like her, and so they never talked or had a relationship or something along those lines.
Oh my gosh, I wish I didn't know that. They had such great chemistry in the commercials.
Well, it's alleged. I don't know if it's true, but allegedly
Oh,
that's the rumor. Yeah,
hmm.
yeah. So
Wow.
I'm just repeating a rumor. I don't know if it was true or not. Um, do you remember? Did you ever watch Nickelodeon?
No, I don't think I ever watched anything on Nickelodeon.
Okay, there was a show I used to watch called "You Can't Do That on Television." It was a kids sketch comedy show, and there was a running gag. If you said water, you got water dumped on your head. If you said slime, you got slime dumped on your head. And one of the kids in the cast was Alanis Morissette before she was famous.
Oh gosh. And now I remember the green slime. I don't think I ever saw a show all the way through, but I that was like famous. We all knew about the green slime on Nickelodeon. But
Yeah,
I did not know Alanis Morissette was on it.
yeah, it was only a short time, but like I've talked to a few people who were on that show, and they said that she was a very nice girl, and they're happy for her success.
Okay.
What kind
I
of?
used to
I'll go ahead.
know Saturday nights in the 70s and very early 80s were really special times because you had the Love Boat
Right,
and then you had Fantasy Island.
Fantasy Island was
And you
creepy.
yes, and it can be very creepy. It can be very creepy. But the Love Boat, you never knew who was going to be on there, so that was exciting. And I remember one time Erin Moran guested on it,
Yeah.
and I loved Joni on, and and I'm still really really sad about how
Mhm.
her life turned out, and that she's not here anymore.
Yeah.
It's a shame.
You should listen to my interviews with Marion Ross and Susie Quattro because we go deep on Happy Days in those interviews.
I didn't know you'd interviewed Marion Ross. Now I've listened to your Susie Quattro because I've interviewed Susie too.
Yeah.
And it was really good. But man, you interviewed Marion Ross. I gotta check that out.
Yeah, that was an early one that I got lucky with, and I just listened to it again the other day, and I edited some technical issues out that I couldn't edit at the time, so it sounds better than it did. Yeah, my parents, they were so friggin' proud of me when I got that
I
interview
bet.
because
Yeah.
up to that point, I had interviewed a lot of people in cult movie world that they never heard of. But then when I got
Yeah.
like a big one like that from their childhood, oh, they were so happy.
Was she as lovely to talk to as she is as Marion Cunningham on TV?
She is, and more. I mean, she's like Irish, and she's got that, almost like Americanized Irish kind of cadence in her voice, and
Mm-hmm.
she is very lovely, and she loves to laugh, and she's just wonderful. And she called me back about 2 hours later, and she called me back at the right time because I had just finished another podcast with a friend of mine that went on, God, 85 minutes, I want to say. And she told me that I was a gentleman and that she had such
Oh.
a wonderful time. And I wish I had that on record because that's something I'll always cherish.
Oh yeah. That's a great memory.
Yeah, she was
Wow. Mm.
wonderful. Yeah, and she's still alive. She's going to be like 96 or something. And That's so wonderful. She's a gift. She's a gift to the world, Marion Ross.
Yeah, and it sounds like that whole cast was pretty close off the screen as well.
Yeah, they were, and I know that everyone on the show can't stand Scott Baio and he can't stand them, so that's about the only friction there. But like they all took on the royalties. They were
Yeah,
not they were
I
not
remember
being
that.
yeah, they were not being paid for royalties for that show, and they took it on and they won.
Hmm.
What Saturday morning cartoons did you watch?
I really didn't watch Saturday morning cartoons, but
Huh.
if I just I had such older siblings and I kind of skipped that period of the kid shows.
Uh-huh.
I do remember seeing Bugs Bunny.
Yep.
And oh, okay, I did like Scooby Doo. I will cop to that. I loved Scooby Doo because it was groovy. It
Yep.
was just this, the mystery machine. I liked Scooby Doo, and sometimes I would watch the Cosby thing. What was the Cosby cartoon?
Oh, Fat
What was
Albert.
that called? Fat Albert. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes I would watch that.
Hey, hey,
What's that?
hey, hey, hey. Yeah. I actually love that cartoon. I mean, I could still watch it even though the whole Cosby shit's been out there, but I could still watch it because I remember seeing episodes when I was a kid, like the one where they're playing hooky, or the one where Albert's got a crush on this girl that only looks at him as a friend.
Yeah.
Those are
Yeah, and,
classics.
and the whole Cosby thing is that's just
Hmm.
so disturbing and sad, and that you didn't know that was going on. And I can say I was a big fan of the Cosby Show in the 80s. So it was just, and my mom died in 2003 before any of this stuff came out, and she loved that show too. She's shocked.
I was never a fan of that show. I thought it was bland and overrated.
You're probably right now, but at the time, I really liked that show.
Yeah. Well, to each their own.
Yeah.
Uh, I Spy was a cool little '60s campy spy show he did.
Yeah.
I like that show. That was a good show. Robert Culp. I've heard that he was a dick.
Yeah.
He was a dick as well. You know what I heard about him? He did
I
that
have no
movie.
idea.
He did that movie Bob and Ted and Carol and Alice with Natalie Wood, right? He did that movie because him and his wife were real swingers in real life.
Get out. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I I
Huh.
I read that on Wikipedia, or I think it was IMDb. I read that recently. Yeah, and I'll be honest with
Okay.
you, I was in the lifestyle for a little bit as well.
Okay. So, what did you think of that movie then?
Well, I mean, it was a satire of people being open about that during the swinging '60s and everything.
Hmm.
I think it's a funny comedy. I love it, but yeah, I mean, if you noticed, I mean, they don't jump into it until the very end of the movie. That's pretty accurate. I mean, when you go to like swinger clubs and sex clubs, it'll be sometimes months to gain trust of people and like build relationships with it and stuff.
I can imagine.
So getting into music, I probably asked you this before. Do you remember the first album you ever bought with your own money?
I sure do. It was Meet the Beatles. I was 10 years old.
Nice.
Yeah, I had seen, there was this made for TV movie
Hmm.
that Dick Clark Productions put on in 1979, so before John Lennon died, called Birth of the Beatles. And I saw that at my dad's house, and I had never heard of the Beatles and was completely mesmerized. And you would think with older siblings I would have, but they weren't into the Beatles. So here I am, the youngest of four by a wide margin, and I'm the first one in the family who really gets into the Beatles. And it's been a lifelong passion. But that was I saved up my allowance and I bought Meet the Beatles. That was my first album.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I mean, I was an MTV kid. My grandmother gave me money for my birthday when I was 8. I got Phil Collins' "No Jacket Required" because I loved the music videos,
Okay.
and
Yeah,
and
yeah, they were great.
Poison, "Look What the Cat Dragged In." I had that
Mm.
one too. Yeah, my parents would buy me albums for my birthday on cassette, or Christmas time. I had Michael Jackson's "Bad," Janet Jackson's "Rhythm Nation," I had Wilson Phillips. I had New Kids on the Block. All the kids called me a girl because I liked Wilson Phillips and New Kids on the Block.
Yeah, that would have been your era.
I had Warren's Cherry Pie.
Oh my God. I did not like the hair bands. I was not into the heavy metal hair bands in the 80s.
My dad hated them too. He loved Guns N' Roses because they reminded him of Led Zeppelin and Sabbath in terms of, not just overly trying to be like, a Kiss ripoff or anything like so many of those
Right,
bands were trying to be.
right.
He just loved how they were all about the music, and not the
Yeah,
image. You know,
I agree.
but I love them all. I mean, even the most obscure hair metal bands I love. Like, I wasn't a big fan at the time of Enough's Enough, but now I'm starting to get into them now that they have a new album out and they're like doing tons of interviews. I'm like, wow, they're like Cheap Trick with, Aerosmith and all the other like 70s like hard rock bands combined. They were a very unique sounding hair metal band.
Huh. Okay. I don't think I know them.
Yeah, they had like peace signs in their on their drum kit and all over the place. And in the videos, there's like animation of like peace signs and rainbows and shit. They were like really weird that way. And they weren't trying to do psychedelic per se, but yet that was their image. It was really weird. I think that was actually their downfall as to why they were a one-hit wonder.
Okay. Yeah, in the 80s, that would not have gone over well, I don't think.
No, it was very unique, but they're pretty cool. Yeah, my
Yeah.
dad, I don't know if I ever told you, my dad had a rock band when I was a kid.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he had a band called TNA, Tommy, and two guys named Alan in the band. They were a power trio.
Okay. So
And
were they Cream fans?
yeah, they're Cream fans, but they were doing like Black Sabbath. They're like doing Black Sabbath and Judas Priest covers and just anything they liked that was hard rock. And they wrote really bad, horrible, horrible songs, but they had fun. They had fun.
Good. That's great.
Yeah.
I wanted to be in a band. I played a little guitar, but I was never very good. And I could sing a little bit, but never progressed beyond the school musical.
You never wanted to join a boy band and play tambourine at least?
No, I wanted to be the star.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's funny, I mean, the Go-Go's, they're always talking about how they were hoping to spawn more girl bands, right? I
Yeah.
think the reason why that didn't happen was because Madonna came along and then pretty soon every girl wanted to be a pop diva and not a rock star anymore.
Yeah.
you
And I
know?
was not a Madonna fan, and she came out at the perfect time for me. But at that point, I was more focused. I was more looking backward. I was more into the 60s and 70s music and even old blues stuff like Robert Johnson and Muddy Waters. I was more of a purist, and
Hmm.
I always thought that she was more show
Yeah.
than about the music, and I didn't like that.
I'm proud to say this. I am gay for Madonna. I love her. When I was a
I
kid,
know, I have a lot of friends who do.
when I was a kid, they would have marathons of her music videos. And I swear to God, I felt like I was watching one long movie that kept changing because they were so cinematic, her videos.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. I
Oh
could,
yeah. I mean,
yeah.
I can remember watching Papa Don't Preach, and I did like the video. I liked a lot of her videos. I didn't really like her, and I didn't like her music.
Yeah. I know she had kind of a snarkiness about her that my dad didn't like either, but he's actually come around now. Now he has a lot of respect for her. He likes how she's survived all these years, and how she's always been able to reinvent herself.
Well, there's no denying that. She is still around. She's still putting stuff out there and doing it. So you got to give her props for that.
Yeah. Let's see, I probably asked you this before, but like, do you remember your first concert?
Yes, it was Joan Jett,
Oh,
and it
that
was on the I Love Rock and Roll tour.
I do remember you telling me that now. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was a biggie. I mean, my dad used to book the acts for East Carolina University, and he got her like at the height of her fame. And I got to go see that and go backstage and meet her. And I got an autograph, but I used to have this file cabinet where I kept all my autographs and the horrible writing that I did as a kid. All of my early stuff was in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I leased out the house where the file cabinet was and moved someplace else, and like an idiot didn't move the file cabinet, and we had assholes living there and they stole everything, and I'm sure they just dumped all the crap in the file
Yeah.
cabinet someplace. All that stuff's gone forever. So I had her autograph, I had James Brown's autograph, I had John Fogerty's autograph, and all that's gone.
God. Yeah, my mom, she got the Beatles autograph when she was 10. She was at
What?
yes. My great aunt, she was the head of craft services at the Hilton in San Francisco, and she knew a lot of famous people. She had connections, that woman, and
Oh my God.
she got my mom backstage to meet the Beatles, and she got the autographs, and my uncle accidentally threw them away, and to this day she will not forgive him. He came to visit a couple months ago. She didn't let him rest with that then.
Well, I wouldn't either. Good God. Talk about the holy grail of autographs.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. Oh, her and I, we met Paul Peterson from the Donna Reed show, right? We lost those autographs too, and I had him on the podcast like 7 months ago, and I told him that whole story.
Well, he needs to mail you another one then.
I wish he would. That interview ended really weirdly, I'll tell you, because I told him I had to switch phones because my phone was dying, and he had this I don't know, toughness in his voice all of a sudden, and I know he's sick. I know his health is not good, right? But he sounded like he just wanted to stop and didn't want to continue, and he didn't sound very appreciative. So I had to do some editing, and I just ended it. That's all.
Oh, that stinks. Yeah, that's when you put your heart and soul into doing an interview with somebody and you're excited that they're coming on and it doesn't go well. That's such a terrible feeling.
I did make him laugh though before we said goodbye. I said, "Next time, let's not wait 35 years," and he thought that was funny.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw the Monkees when I was 14. That was like my first real concert setting, and like it was at AT&T Park or Candlestick, and then eventually became AT&T. And
Yeah,
they were playing before a Giants game, and they there was only three of them, and they drove off the field in a Cadillac after they played.
sweet. So Mike wasn't with him?
Mike wasn't with them. But it's funny, Davey lived in the Bay Area, and like my mom, her tech guys with the cable company went to his house once, and he had all these like hot naked girls. They were like having an orgy.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Well,
Mike was always my favorite monkey.
yeah, mine's always been Davey. I always had a crush on him.
Yeah, see, I always thought of Mike as sort of the John Lennon of the Monkees.
Yes.
And I'm a John Lennon girl.
Oh, have you ever heard his country albums? He's really good.
No, I haven't, but I can imagine. I mean, he was a good songwriter.
Country rock, because he hung out with Poco and Buffalo Springfield and all those guys. Like he did the same kind of country rock that they did, and it is wonderful. I mean, there's some lost gems of Michael Nesmith solo music out there.
Wow. Yeah, I'm a big Graham Parsons fan. Talk about country rock, although I don't think he'd want to call it that. Cosmic American music is what he called it, but I love Graham Parsons.
Oh yeah, it's funny. I didn't get into him until later. When I was a kid, my dad used to tell me about him that he was a member of the Byrds, but I never really took his music in until later. And I think it was around the time that I interviewed Pamela Des Barres that I really started listening to his stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you remember your first makeout song?
My first makeout song. I don't remember my first makeout song, but I do remember making out with my little boyfriend at the movie theater. We were watching Gandhi.
Mm-hmm.
That I remember. I don't remember
That's funny.
what. I mean, yeah, of all movies to make out to Gandhi.
That's a long
But I
movie
think we,
too.
well, that's why we went, because you got a long time there you can make out. And we were in the 7th grade. So it's not like there were a lot of places we could go.
Well, mine was in an arcade, and it was about to close down. It was like our shopping mall arcade that had been there for years, since like the early 80s.
Mm,
It was closing down. It was like a Sunday, and we were on one of those sit-down race car games, and
yeah.
Janet Jackson's Love Will Never Do Without You was playing, and The Kiss was wonderful, and it led to my first heavy petting experience.
All right. Well, that's a memory you will cherish.
Always, always. Here's a fun question. Do you remember the first time you discovered your belly button?
The first time I discovered, no, I do not. I have no memory of that.
Yeah, I don't have specific memories of it, but I do remember around 6 I started contemplating it, and me and the other kids would like lift up our shirts and compare them, and I had a girlfriend when I was 6. We used to play doctor, and she had this cute little Audi. She would let me thump it.
Oh my gosh. I don't think
Yeah,
I've ever known anybody who's an Audi, actually.
I have met so many Audis on this podcast. It is insane.
Hmm.
A lot of
Well,
act.
I'm an innie.
Yep, I'm an innie too. I'm a very deep innie, and I read an article years ago. People with deep innies are more generous, kinder, considerate, and they live longer.
Good to know. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah. I missed that girlfriend I had. She was like the girl that got away. And I like belly buttons because of her. You know.
Oh, how old were you?
We were 6 when we met. I changed schools. I didn't see her very much after that, and then we were in junior high. I was too into my own stuff that I didn't pay attention to her, and then she went down a rabbit hole of drugs. I tried to get in touch with her on MySpace years ago, and she just wasn't
Hmm.
interested. It bummed me out.
Yeah, well, that's sad.
Yeah, she was in a loveless marriage and just doing drugs. That's what her best friend and I connected, and she told me the whole story. So
Goodness.
it was sad, really sad.
That's too bad.
So, are you writing anything new?
I am that I have dialed back the podcast that I have because I discovered there was no way to do that, which, as you know, takes a lot of time,
Yes.
and teach full time and write a book. So I came to the very difficult conclusion last spring, or late last winter actually, that I'm going to have to shelve the podcast. I'm not willing to say permanently yet.
Hmm.
I can't bring myself to do that, but for the foreseeable future. And I've been writing like crazy since May and have 70 pages of the new novel, which will be my second novel, and have done a tremendous amount of research for it. So I'm going full steam ahead on that. I'm really feeling good about it.
I tell anybody who shelves the podcast, don't get rid of it. I actually wrote a status about this recently. I know a couple of people who have stopped podcasting and they've taken their podcast off the internet. It's like this was an amazing accomplishment. Even though you're not doing it anymore, people can still listen to it because it's amazing. Don't get rid of it.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to get rid of it. I'm just not. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to go back to it. And at the same time, because I worked so hard on it, I'm not ready to just go, "Oh, I'm forever done with it." All I know is right now, my priority is getting this book done.
There's a podcaster that just ended his podcast recently, and I'm so sad because it was the best '80s podcast ever. His name's
Oh,
Curtis. His name's Curtis. He lives in Atlanta, and he's
mm-hmm.
he's become a religious, Trumper on social
Oh
media.
dear.
Yeah, and he's been very good to me over the years. We've like helped each other get guests and stuff. He's not that bad of a guy, It's just he's confused and misguided, I think, right now. He's being fooled by this administration. And he took his podcast off the platforms, and I'm just like, why are you doing that, man? I mean, you accomplished something big. He had guests on that I've always wanted that I was never able to get, and he had clips and music, and it was all audio only, and it was just so fantastic. I don't know why he took it down, and I'm sad because I can't go listen to, if I get certain people I'd like to hear his interview, I can't do it now. It's sad.
Well, do you think he did that because were his views different then? Were his political leanings different? And he
No,
feels that that is not in line with his new Trumper views?
well, no, no, no. He doesn't. He never talked politics on his show because it was just
Okay.
only about the '80s. I think maybe
Hmm.
he. I think maybe he did it because of what he's doing in whatever his day job is and the local politics he's getting involved in or whatever. I don't know. I haven't talked to him about that, but I'm just like, yeah, don't take it down. I mean, it was
Right.
fantastic. He had so many great people.
Well, that's a shame, frankly, it's a shame that he's a Trumper. It's a shame that anybody's a Trumper.
Yeah.
I could go on the whole political tier that we'd be here for another couple hours. But yeah, yeah, I don't have any patience with that. This country is being destroyed, and
Yeah.
it's okay. I'll shut up now. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, you're,
It's
you're
just
no, you're preaching to the choir, to the choir and telling the truth. I get it, but I love your podcast. I do hope you go back to it, and I love the one you did with Kim.
how I was just going to say, as you were talking earlier, and I didn't want to interrupt you, I wanted to thank you, and I wanted to thank you publicly for
Yeah,
hooking me up with Kim Gottlieb Walker because she was just a joy to talk with. She was so gregarious
yeah.
and giving with her memories. And I told her what a Graham Parsons fan I am. And I knew that she had gone with her husband and Cameron Crowe to interview him not long before he died in 1973. And I told her that I really wanted one of her pictures of Graham and to tell me the price. And if I could afford it, I would do it. And she was just so kind and sent it to me for free, and it's framed and sitting in my study now.
Oh,
So thank you for sending her my way.
my pleasure, and thank you for giving me a shout out. A lot of people, especially the men podcasters, they don't do that, and it pisses me off. You know,
Well, of course,
Yeah,
yeah.
because they're fucking jealous. But I told her to go on your shows, and Stacy hasn't done one with her yet. I hope she does. And who else? I suggested somebody else. I think Amanda Morks actually. And yeah, I mean, I believe in community in the podcast world and helping everybody out. Especially people who are awesome and they know their shit.
Oh, well, I love Stacy. She's been so kind to me and has become a friend, and what she does is great, and what you're doing is great, and I
Oh,
have had wonderful experiences in the podcast community, and I get a pang sometimes when I see somebody's got a new episode out, and I'm happy for them, and I think, are you sure you don't want to do it anymore, Christy? And it's it's not so much that I don't want to do it anymore. It's just you have to pick and choose what you can fit into your life.
mm-hmm,
And I was either gonna I have to teach. I've been doing that for 25 years. That pays the bills.
mm-hmm.
And there was just no way that I could put everything that I was putting into that podcast and teach and do this book.
Yeah.
So I had to make a decision, and so that's where we are.
Well, you can, maybe do it during, your teaching vacations, like do one a week or something.
I can't. I'm on vacation right now, technically speaking.
Yeah.
But the thing about writing this book is I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning,
Mm-hmm.
and it's do some research, take some notes, go back over what you wrote the day before, tweak some stuff, and then move forward with some new stuff. And then by 4 o'clock, I'm brain dead. And, I just want to have a glass of wine and watch a rerun of Happy Days or something. I
Yeah.
don't want to. Can't. There's only so much you can do.
Yeah, I mean, I've been saying it the last couple of years. I was going to take the summer off to write my memoir, but then amazing guests pop up, and I do the podcast instead. But I am going to get back.
Yeah,
I am going to get back to the book. I mean, I've got juicy stories. I mean,
I bet you do.
what I told you today was just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, there's stories I want to get out there. But it's just the podcast. Just I'm just focused on that a lot.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. And you do a great job. And
Oh,
as a fellow podcaster, I respect how much work goes into what you do because I know it does. And I'm not sure if everybody really realizes that this is a big job. It's a big endeavor.
hmm.
And preparing for an interview and then doing the interview and then editing it and producing the episode and then promoting the episode, it has to be a labor of love because it's so all encompassing and so time consuming. But you do a great job.
Oh, thank you so much. I was curious. What color nail polish do you have today?
I knew you were going to ask that,
Yeah.
so I am prepared. I painted my nails, and it's kind of a metallic maroon
Hmm.
or wine color, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah. How
I
about you?
when I went to the Hollywood show, and I still have it. I have clear polish, and when you see it in the sunlight, you can see rainbows.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Nice. I
And I
like that.
and I was showing it off to so many of my guests because a lot of my female guests were like, "What color are your toes painted?" Exactly like I just asked, and I was showing
Yeah.
it. I was showing it to them, and I was like, "Yeah, I mean, it was my birthday, that week," and I was like, "Yeah, I'm pampering myself."
Good for you.
Thank you, Christy. I
All
love
right.
you. Thank you so much for nerding out with me again.
I love you too, Tommy. Thank you so much for having me on. It's always fun to talk to you, and I will nerd out with you any old time.
Oh, that touches my heart. It really, really does. And I hope you have a great rest of your summer and get that book finished because we'll definitely talk about it when it's ready.
Well, thank you. And you take care and enjoy your summer and get your memoir written.
I will. I will.
All right.
Okay. Bye bye.
Bye.
Well, there you have it. Christy Alexander Hallberg, ain't she a sweetheart? Oh my God, I just friggin' love her. Man, things got emotional at the end there, didn't it? It did. I friggin' just adore her and love her, and that hurts. That hurts my heart that she's taking a retirement from podcasting. But you can go listen to the old episodes that she's done the last few years of Rock is Lit because it is a fantastic podcast. And who knows? Maybe the universe will twist her arm and she'll resurrect it again, or maybe even start a new one with the rock theme. Who knows? But I can't wait for the new book. It's going to be fantastic. When that comes out, her and I will talk about it. Well, until next time, this is Tommy Throwback Kovac saying, there's no shame in living in the past because the present sucks. Later, dudes!